The storm hit faster than anyone expected. One moment, the sea was calm and forgiving. The next, it was chaos. Waves rose like walls, swallowing the small ferry that carried a dozen passengers between the mainland and a tiny resort island. I remember the cold shock of water against my face, the screech of metal tearing, and the desperate cries fading into the storm. When I opened my eyes again, I was lying on wet sand, gasping for air. My head throbbed, my clothes were soaked, and the sky was gray with dawn. Beside me was her, the woman I'd noticed on the ferry earlier. She'd been sitting quietly by the window, reading. I remembered her calm eyes, her hair tied loosely, and the silver bracelet on her wrist that caught the sunlight. Now that same bracelet was smeared with sand as she sat beside me, shivering. "You're alive," she whispered, relief softening her trembling voice. I thought you didn't make it." I coughed seawater and tried to sit up. Where? Where are we?" She glanced around at the endless beach and thick jungle beyond an island. "I think the storm must have thrown us off course. No other survivors, no wreckage in sight, just the two of us." Her name was Elena. Day one, we searched for food, for any sign of rescue, but found only coconuts, salt air, and silence. By nightfall, we'd built a weak shelter of driftwood and palm leaves. She was calm, almost too calm. I was the one panicking, pacing, muttering about how someone would come soon. "They'll find us," I said. "They have to." Elena looked at the dying fire and said quietly, "Hope is a beautiful thing, but it doesn't cook dinner." She was right. Day three. We grew closer because survival forced us to. We shared everything, the coconuts, the exhaustion, the fear. She taught me how to climb the low palms for fruit. I taught her how to make a fishing spear. When we laughed, it wasn't because anything was funny. It was because laughter reminded us we were still human. One night, under a blanket of stars, she asked me about my life. I told her about the job I hated, the apartment that always smelled of rain, and the empty dinner table waiting for me every night. She smiled faintly. "You talk like a man who's been living without living." "And you?" I asked. "Who were you before this?" Her eyes flickered. Someone who forgot what freedom felt like. Day five, we found wreckage. Half of the fair's lifeboat lodged between rocks. Inside it, a small box of supplies, a lighter, a few energy bars, a torn map. It felt like salvation. But that night, as we sat by the fire, Elena's hands trembled. "You ever think," she said softly, "that maybe we weren't lost, but found?" I frowned. "What do you mean?" She turned toward me, the firelight reflected in her eyes. "You said you had no one waiting for you. Neither do I. Maybe the ocean wasn't cruel. It was kind enough to give us another chance to feel something real." Before I could respond, thunder rolled in the distance. Day seven. A rescue plane passed overhead. I waved, shouted, lit a signal fire, but the smoke disappeared in the wind. Elena didn't move. She just watched me. When the plane vanished, I collapsed beside her. She touched my shoulder gently. "You did everything you could. I don't want to die here," I said. She smiled sadly, beautifully. "Then live here right now. Don't let fear steal the only moment we have." That night, the stars returned. She sat close, her voice low and certain. "I'm just a woman," she whispered, "and you're what I want." Not because we're trapped, but because for once, I see someone who's alive. Her words weren't about romance, they were about truth. And in that moment, surrounded by sea and silence, I understood. She didn't want rescue. She wanted meaning, connection, humanity. Day 10, we were rescued. A cargo ship spotted the smoke from our fire at sunrise. As they pulled us aboard, Elena held my hand tightly. "Don't lose this," she said. "Not the island, not what you felt there." I nodded, promising myself I wouldn't. Weeks later, I returned home to my old life, my job, my apartment, the noise of the city. Everything was the same, yet nothing felt right. I tried to contact Elena, but the rescue team said she never gave her full name, never registered for follow-up. She simply disappeared. Sometimes I wonder if she was real or just something the island gave me when I needed it most. But when the rain hits my window and I hear the soft rush of waves in my mind, I remember her words. Maybe we weren't lost, but found. And I smile because she was right. We didn't survive that island. We were reborn on it. Even in the darkest isolation, humanity shines through connection. Sometimes the people who enter your life for a short while aren't meant to stay forever. They're meant to remind you we were trapped on an island. And she said, I'm just a woman.